Zoe's here today and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm creating a Valentine's Day card for you using quite a few of older products. I'm going to be using the Party Animal stamp set for the balloon and the heart and the present. I'm also going to be using big scripty words for the sentiment love ya. I'm going to be using Sweet Friends as sort of like my characters for today, and I'm going to use like the little like frozen yogurt and cupcake and things, and I'm also going to be using Bannertastic. And this card today is actually going to be a recreation of a card I made around a year ago. I really love the design and I thought, well, why not recreate that card today just with a different design and different images and for a different holiday. So I thought it would just be really fun to do, and the card is on the screen now for you to see that what I'm going to be recreating. So I have started off with stamping out all of the images from the Sweet Friends stamp set. I'm just stamping out like the little cupcake and the frozen yogurt, but basically just lots of different desserts. I'm only going to need 3 of them, so I just stamped down the 3, and then once I finish stamping those out, I'm also going to do like the little arms and legs. I'm going to stamp little faces on them. I'm going to stamp out a bunch of hearts and strawberries, and I'm also going to stamp out the balloon, present, and heart from the Party Animal stamp set, and then colour them in. So I got the colour combination of the card that I'm sort of like recreating, and so I'm just going through and using a ton of different pinks and aquas and greens for my project today, and also some yellow or like orangey yellows, just because I felt like a lot of the desserts needed it. So I just went ahead and coloured some hot pink items first. I just used RV19, RV25 and RV13. Now I'm moving on to like the yellowy oranges. So I'm using YR12, YR31 and YR20. I'm then moving on to the top of the pink cupcake. So I'm using R85, R83 and R81. I'm then moving on to some teals. So I'm using BG49, BG11 and BG13. And I do end up recoloring in that little frozen yogurt because I did make a boo-boo and coloured outside the lines, and you will see that soon. I'm then using some greens here for the top of the strawberries and the present. And then on my stamped and coloured little frozen yogurt thing, I just added a little bit of grey onto the rim of the container. So now that I've gone ahead and stamped and coloured all of my images, I die cut them out using the cornane dies, and I'm just adhering all of like my little pieces together. So I'm making these little desserts into characters, and I'm also going to like adhere like the little balloon on there, and also the bigger heart and the present and things like that, just to create like little clusters which are easier to adhere. I'm then going to create a really simple background, for watercolour. So I'm just using Sponge Sugar, Picture Raspberry and Festive Berries, and just ink blending it really roughly onto a background of watercolour cardstock. I'm then just taking a little bit of water and adding it to the background, and then I'm dabbing off the edges to sort of like make it fade to white, and then I'm going to heat set it with a heat tool, and this creates a really simple background. Because I used just stress inks, I'm also going to sort of like splatter on the background a little bit and lift some of that colour and then dry it once again. So now that my background is all completed, it's time to work on the sentiment. So I stamped down this sort of like swirly banner, or this 3-tier banner from Bannertastic, and then I'm using the Love Ya sentiment from Big Scripty Words, and I'm also stamping that down onto the same white cardstock. And then I curved the sentiments onto an acrylic block, and I'm going to stamp them down on the banner. So I just used You're the Sweetest, so I put sweetest at the very bottom and You're the at the top, and then I'm going to have the Love Ya in the middle, so it doesn't really necessarily read like up and down, but I feel like people would get the gist of it, and I just think it looked a lot better this way. I also used some C markers to add a little bit of shading onto the banner, just so it matches the theme of colouring a little bit better. I'm then adding the cornane dies onto the dies, adhering them down and running them through my Big Shot machine. Now that all of my elements were die cut and ready to go, I can start adhering them into place. So I added the sentiment into the center of this background, and then added my little characters around, and then I'm just going to add foam tape onto the back of everything and adhere it down into place, sort of how I had positioned it earlier. And I'm then going to use the little hearts and strawberries and things that I die cut earlier and coloured, and just sort of scatter them around the background just to add a few little extra details. And I just think it shows a lot more effort put into the card when you go ahead and add like little details around like this. I just think it looks super duper cute and really matches nicely with the colours. I then also saw this little like 3-lined stamp. I think it's for sprinkles, but I really want it to look like a little burst, I guess. So I just stamped it down in black ink directly onto the background around all of the images. Just, I think, again, adds a little bit of extra details. So that finishes up my super simple Valentine card for today. I really, really love it. This was one of my favorite cards that I made last year, and I think it was for Mother's Day. So I'm really excited to recreate this card today and make it for a completely different holiday with different stamps. So thank you so much for stopping by today. All of the supplies will be listed down below and also over at the lawnfawn blog, and I will catch you all next time. Thank you so much for stopping by today.